Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about anime for the first time on this channel, which has me very excited and also a little nervous. And I'm also going to be doing a review for the first time on this channel, which also has me both excited and nervous. So go easy on me. And for those of you who like anime, please feel free to subscribe and join our community because I need more people to kind of nerd out with. So the reason that I created this video is because I recently finished season 4 of Demon Slayer, the Hashira training arc. And initially, after I finished it, I thought it was good. You know, I especially after episode 8 and that epic finale, I was thinking to myself, man, that was fun. Like, that was fun to watch. And, you know, in full transparency, I am a fan of Demon Slayer. I mean, obviously, or else I wouldn't be watching it. And so afterwards, I was really curious to see what people thought about it. You know, other people's take on it, other people's perspective, that kind of thing. And so I'll show you guys. I started doing a little bit of research, and I went to YouTube and I searched up some reviews. And immediately upon scrolling, you're going to see that most people just have the word terrible in big letters. And, you know, most people seem to not like it. I watched a few of these reviews, and it's just basically people just trashing Demon Slayer. And then you have kind of the chief among these reviews, which got a lot of attention, which came from IGN. And it got a lot of attention because they rated this season as a 3 out of 10, which I thought about it, and the way that I put that into context is if I went and ate a meal and I came away from that meal and said I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10, I would say that meal was terrible and that I would never want to eat it again and that it was just awful. And I think it's pretty obvious that this is rage bait, clickbait, whatever you want to call it. There's just no way that you would give this a 3 out of 10. I think the only way that you would do that is if you are probably a hater of Demon Slayer already, or if you know absolutely nothing about the show and you're just thrown into the new season and you're like, this is kind of weird and confusing. Maybe I can see that. But overall, you know, I think even the harshest critics of this season, there's no way you're going to give this a 3 out of 10. It makes no sense. And so, you know, there was a lot of responses that kind of were just, people were astounded that they gave this a 3 out of 10. So I wanted to just kind of jump into the season a little bit, give my thoughts, and then I'll end up giving my own rating here at the end of the video. I'm not going to go over every single episode, but just a few. I wanted to provide some thoughts as to why I think this was a pretty good season. So whenever the season starts out, we have episode 1, which is to defeat Muzan, right? And immediately we see Obanai and Sanemi together. We get to see kind of how fun their interactions are, and we get to see how powerful they are. And I was actually blown away by the animation, the fighting just in the first episode, because we haven't really seen Sanemi, you know, go at it full tilt. And it was crazy because you get to see how powerful some of these upper rank Hashiras are, and, you know, why they're so revered and why they're so talked about. And so I thought that was an excellent episode. We got to see them falling into the Infinity Castle for the first time. And going to episode 2, and the reason I'm going to go to this one next is because this was actually my favorite episode. So I am a fan of Giyu. Like, he's my favorite Hashira. I think he suffers from imposter syndrome, which I can totally relate to. And he is my favorite not only just because of his style, but again, because I feel like I can sort of relate to him. And episode 2 provides this sort of context as to why he feels his pain. It goes into his background with his friend Sabito whenever they were going through their initial training or their selection, excuse me. And just kind of, you know, gives you that idea of why Giyu is Giyu. And it's also kind of a cute episode because you have Tanjiro who's just following Giyu around the entire time, no matter where he goes. And so you kind of get to see the relationship between, let's say, Tanjiro and Giyu as well. And so I thought that was a really cool episode. To see a Hashira who is very emotionless be a little emotional and kind of give that backstory, I thought was really cool. And then again, I'm not going to go over each and every single one of these, but to skip forward a little bit towards kind of the end of the season, to see, let's say, like episode, 6, 7, 8, like Yome has always been a Hashira I think that we've always been very interested in, and we've always wanted to know more about him. And so getting to know his backstory as well was really cool. Also getting to know kind of the backstory of Muzan and the Master and their relationship, and, you know, the ramifications of the relationship and the bloodline. I'm not trying to be super spoiler here, but I thought that was very interesting and cool too. And then of course the final episode where we see all of the Hashira unite, going after Muzan, the Infinity Castle scene, which I thought was super cool. It ended on such a high note. So I thought personally it was a good season. And I don't understand the hate. I don't understand people saying that it was terrible or that it was a 3 out of 10. I would say, after watching it and sort of digesting it and thinking about it, I would personally give this season somewhere in the neighborhood of a 7.7, 7.8. Just because I feel like it's deserving of a good season. And in fairness, let's say it is the worst season of Demon Slayer. To be the worst season of one of the best anime ever is not a terrible thing, right? So I think people are overreacting in saying that as well. But I would be really curious to see what other people thought about this. So definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, I would go about 7.7, 7.8 maybe. Again, because I recognize that an 8 or a 9 is going to be a very high mark for an anime season. But to me, this is not deserving of a 3, a 4, a 5, or even a 6, because my whole thing is with Demon Slayer, it's constantly called out for being just the action, right? Like just the fighting scenes, and it's just a pretty anime in terms of its animation, its fighting, it's all it has. But then whenever they take a step back from all the fighting and they provide dialogue and context and backstories and relationship building and character arcs, people all of a sudden hate on it. And I think that's probably my biggest point in this video, is that they kind of did the thing that people were accusing them of not being able to do, which is, again, having that dialogue, having those relationships, the character arcs, the building up towards the final arc. And, a lot of people were saying things that were silly, like, oh, this was just a Hashira training. That's all they're doing, is they're just training. It's literally called Demon Slayer Hashira training arc for a reason. Like, that's what it was. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting. I love backstories. I love getting to know characters more. And so I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. I loved that I got to know more about Gyu, that we got to learn more about Gyome and some of the other Hashira as well. There was some cool fighting scenes in there. Of course, they were in training. And then in the final episode, there was actual fighting. But yeah, my first review. Hopefully I didn't do too poorly. I'd be really, really curious to see what you guys think. If you guys think it's justifiably a 3, 4, or 5. Am I wrong? Do you guys think it's an 8 or 9? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really, really curious. But I'd like to keep doing reviews, so maybe let me know what you guys want me to review next. And I will see you guys in the next video.